the developers have to understand that listening to your player base is one of the most important things ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
But kind of what Drew's saying too. I mean, do we as gamers do it to ourselves? I mean, there's that saying, people just like to complain. Like, people are just gonna complain.
But,
Even if Mizzy thought that Battlefield 5 was like the bet, and I'm sure there's not that, I'm just using Battlefield as an example, but if Mizzy thought Battlefield 5 was like, she just loves it, it's the greatest game ever. But then
It wasn't.
there's always going to be people. I mean, there's people that don't like Battlefield 1. There's people that don't like Call of Duty.
So yeah, I'm Ben, or known as my anti-alias, Skodone, it's actually. And I've been a game developer since 4 years, and I specialize in virtual reality games and installations. I've made like 3 VR games as of yet, and I work at the company Causal Creations, where we focus on mostly educational games. So we're working together with museums, schools, but also do like games for change or impact games that have more of a documentary background, or work with specific problems or topics that are current in our world to try to educate gamers through gaming.
Can you explain that quick a little bit more? That was very interesting. Well,
Which part?
The last part, like the games, the
Okay.
specific, yeah.
Yeah, for instance, we made a game about Abdullah Karam, a Syrian refugee who came to Austria, where I live. And we met him, and he told us his story and his passion for gaming, and that he's doing he's illustrating a lot, and he loves doing fan art and draws a lot. And we found his story very interesting, so we asked him if he wanted to make a game with us about his own journey. So he became the main actor of his own game, as a digital person, but also as a part of a video documentary in the game. So where he would comment on the players' actions during the game.
That is cool.
That's really cool.
For what platforms is the game like made for? Or will there
it's free on Steam. It's called Path Out.
Path
also
Out, right?
Path Out, yeah.
I will write in the chat and you tell me if that's right. Path Out. Together, I like that.
Yes, with 2 words. Path Out.
Okay, 2 words.
Yeah.
Okay, and on Steam.
We haven't yet made it available to mobile, but we considered working on that. But right now it's only available for PC. Yeah.
Very cool. Gary, can you give us a little intro about yourself?
Hello. Yes. Yeah. Hi, chat. Hi, guys. My first name's Mark, but everybody knows me by Gallatron, or my chat calls me Gally. I don't really know. I don't know who started that, but yeah. And yeah, I'm the avid, passionate gamer. Kind of known, I guess, Battlefield. But also I stream a little bit here on Twitch. But I work a full-time job. I work for the railroad. Right now I work for the communications department. But before I worked on with the crossings and signal department. So I basically tested and fixed railroad crossings and other things. So and then I'm married and I have 2 kids. So family life, full-time job, and then gaming on as a hobby, I guess you could say.
How did you get into gaming? When did it start?
Gaming started for me, I think, when I was like 10 or 12. And that was like when my dad bought me a PS2 Lite. And he bought me this PS2 Lite because I wanted a PlayStation 2, like the regular one, but it was too expensive. And one Christmas, I think the Lite was like cheaper or something. And he came home with it. And I just remember being really excited. And like, I didn't even have internet on this thing. And I was excited to play Madden. And I was excited to I would play like Need for Speed and just other games where you didn't really need internet back then. But that's kind of where it all started for me. And I wasn't like I play a lot more now than I used to as a kid, but that kind of is like how it started, I guess.
And how did you get into streaming?
Really streaming. So, yeah, I got into streaming like, I guess like 2015. I started watching, like I found out, I was like, what is this Twitch thing? Like I can watch people play video games. It's kind of interesting. So I started like finding people, watching people. And at the same time, I was playing Rainbow Six Siege, and then I just started playing Battlefield 1. So I was kind of watching both of those games, or finding people that were streaming both of those games. And then I found a community most people know of, Necro. I found him and his community, and I kind of hung out there for a while. And yeah, guys like him and well, he's known as Fire now, but Prophet, they kind of like inspired me. I was like, this whole streaming thing seems very interesting. And I think it's something that I would like to do because I like to talk. So, and if I'm going to play a game and I like to interact with people, I thought that streaming was kind of cool, that I could talk to people and chat and while I'm playing the game at the same time.
When did you start streaming again? Like for 2 years ago or 3 years ago or what?
Yeah, so because I took like a break for a while. So I started streaming like, I think it was 2016. I can't remember exactly, but I streamed for like 9 months for pretty like consistently the same times. And that was basically just Battlefield 1 and Rainbow Six Siege. Those are the two games that I streamed. But then I took a little break, kind of had some financial things. So I took a break, and then eventually I came back. Like, I think I took a break for like a year or a couple more months, and then I came back. So I've been streaming like consistent for like 2 years, I think.
And are you playing different games on the stream? I didn't even know. I saw you only like COD streaming and Battlefield, or also on other games, variety games.
Yeah, I mean Battlefield, that's kind of where like I met a lot of people on Twitch. Lately I've kind of just been playing pretty much anything. I just finished Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I just started the Division 2. But yeah, Battlefield was like where I started out, but I kind of just stream whatever.
Did you ever stream Skodone? Never, no? But you play different games as well, right? All kinds of games. We had that before. What games do you play? Give me a quick background, please, on that.
Yeah,
because I know you play different games than we do as well.
Yeah, I haven't touched Battlefield 1 in a while, for instance. I bought it, but I never got into it that much. I think I lack the friends to play with. I'm a mostly single player, if you can say that.
Yeah, sure, you can say that.
Right now I'm playing Metro 2033 and Night in the Woods. Then occasionally the lunch break game What the Golf.
Okay.
It's like casual game. I used to play a Russian MOBA called Prime World with a friend from Russia. That's, I think, the only competitive game I ever play. And yeah, I enjoy building games like Anno or Satisfactory Factorio, or RPGs like Divinity or
So you have a
Skyrim.
really, or you could say like wide experience and point of gaming. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. We need that. You said you developed also like 3 BR games. Is that right?
Yes.
Did I? What kind of BR? Are there any known BR games or?
No,
Okay.
I made them all by myself.
You made them by yourself. You
Yes.
published them?
One of them is done and published. Well, it's not done because games are never done, but
Yeah.
one is published, and it was part of my master thesis. So
Okay.
it's a game about myself, basically. It's an autobiographical game about my room, the room that you cannot see here.
The couch behind your
Hidden.
back.
Yeah, that's hidden behind me.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's called The Furniture of Self. And the other one is also published. It was a more of a experiment on things to not to do in VR.
Okay.
So we made a game about a goblin tavern, where you're in a tavern full of goblins, and you can drink potions and eat things, and everything will have a different effect on you that will make you very sick. Because we did everything you shouldn't do in VR in this game.
What shouldn't you do in a VR?
Like throw your eyeball, or hang upside down swinging, or being moved by a random force from the game that you cannot control, stuff like that. So we really tried to research a lot about the do's
And the
in
don'ts.
VR and the don'ts, and we tried to condense this into a small little game. It's also published.
What's the name?
Goblins Gone Wrong, but wrong with VR.
Can you post that in the chat? Post
Yeah.
that in the chat, please.
That's
That's
cool.
amazing. For what platforms is this game available, though? Also Steam?
It's not on Steam. It's on itch.io, which is a platform for independent games mostly, but there's also...
Can you post that link?
Yes.
I'm not sure. If you can't, if it doesn't let you, post that link in the Discord chat we have with Joe, and Joe will post it.
Yes. It will
there he
take
is.
a little moment.
The man behind the scenes.
Has spoken.
Ah, you guys couldn't hear Joe. Damn. Joe, you have to... They want to hear you, man. We have to do something against them. Perfect. The furniture of self goblins combo. This guy's actually makes me want to look into that.
I will put it into our conversation. Is Joe in there? Yes, I see.
Yeah, he's in
Yes,
there.
he's here. Perfect. That's amazing. By the way, guys, I have brought tonight a little surprise here in the chat. We will watch a video very soon. It's a video of, wait, let me see, the title. The video is made by B. Dobbins FTW. I don't know if you guys know that video or that dude, but I really love him. I love him for his content creation. And I want to show you guys a small part out of that video. I really can recommend for you guys to watch it later after the stream. The title is called Why Games Like Call of Duty Are Bad for You, but Games Like One Space Are Good for You. And I don't know how he made how he came up was like I think it's like a 50-minute video, how he came up with 50 minutes of this incredible content. Yeah, let's just watch these 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Joe will need a little second to set it up, so give him a bit. And also, when the video is done, I will probably look into the screen for 5 seconds and don't realize the video is over, and then I will talk again. All right, guys. So this was quite some informational video. We are not here to talk about Call of Duty per se. That's not my point. My point is, I would say if I have a question over you, the question would be, what is a game you maybe ever played which made you grow as a person? I think this is the question for me. Is there like anything which comes into your mind right now? Any of you guys, also you in the chat. What is the game you played which made you grow as a person?
For me, it was Gothic. The first Gothic game. I don't know if you know him.
Gothic? No.
Gothic, yeah. It was a fantasy RPG, and it was the first game to make me cry over my own actions as a child. Because you're like in a colony that mines magical ore, and you're a criminal from the outside being punished, throwing in there, and you have to work yourself up. It's kind of like
so you have to be persistent, patient.
Yeah, and there's a character in there that is created to annoy you in a way, but he's also very empathic, and he gets close to you, but at the same time you can't get rid of him. He will constantly follow you throughout the game and ask questions and interrupt your actions, bring himself in danger, so they have to protect him. And the only way to get rid of him is to kill him in the game. And I don't know how old I was, maybe 10 years or something. And I let him follow me for 3 or 4 or 5 hours over a couple of days of gaming. But at one point I was like, I can't have him forever. It's just too annoying. And I had to kill him. And after a couple of hours after killing him, I missed him. So that was really something that made me experience games much more direct, or like feel more for a game. So that made me realize that games are more than just toys.
What about you, Gally?
Why can't I think of it? I played this one game. It was on purpose. It was a story. It was like a horror game. It's with a bunch of these teenagers. I can't remember what it was called for some reason. It's on PS4, but it's basically a story game, and it makes you choose what to do at certain points in the game. Like you might have to kill somebody, and it was like a horror game too. So yeah, it's Till Dawn. There we go, Simba. I was trying to think of it's a really good game. It doesn't take that long, but it just kind of like makes you realize what choices you're making. You know, when the game presents you with, you have to make this choice or make this choice, and this is the outcome that is going to come of it. And that game's kind of cool because you can play it again and try to play it the first time and make your choices, but then play it again and make the opposite choices and see what happens. Supposedly there's like 4 or 5 different outcomes in that game. So I think that was, I don't know if it changed me personally, but it kind of just showed me like, I guess what kind of person you are, but yeah, that game was, it was a cool game.
Yeah, and you also question yourself. Does it? I think it's, if you have to take. For me, it's always like this. Let's say I'm thinking right now about a game I played actually. Let's just say you want to take. You want to make decisions, and then you have to decide basically, are you a good person by making this decision in a game? And this is what I was many times asking myself. Even though you can be anyone you want, So what are my values, even if I just play a character in a game? That's very interesting, I think. Let's have a look at the chat quick, because there were many messages actually. What games did you guys say?
I saw Detroit Become Human.
Somebody else said The Last of Us 2.
Said that.
Or The Last of Us series.
The Last of Us 2, yeah. HZD.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn, yeah.
Galaxy Galaxy. That's interesting. Man, I have to play more games.
I actually had the Detroit Become Human one it was a PS Plus free, I think.
Yes.
I have not played it though.
Oh yeah,
it's
true.
on Game Pass too, I think.
Yeah.
I probably have it too.
I started playing it 1 week before Cyberpunk came out, and it made me forget Cyberpunk existed because I was so sucked into it. It's such a brilliant game, in my opinion.
Oh, that's the best when it comes to a story game, when it just sucks you in and you're
Yeah,
like, I
for
can't, like
sure.
when you go to sleep and you're like, I just want to keep playing the game. But you should probably go to bed because you've been up for
Yeah.
5 hours. Yeah.
I bought all of their games. No, I forgot the company. I bought like what's it called? We Were Here, Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain. Tell Me Why, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become
I do
Human.
miss
That's the
now.
4 games
Yeah,
they made,
Joe.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
they're like they're pretty amazing. It's something very unique, and they look amazing. They like the graphics of Detroit. They blew me away on PC. When you think of that, there's no ray tracing and stuff in there, and it's not the best. Quantic Dreams, thank you, Bloody Slayer. That's like not the newest stuff you can have. It's not a new game, but it looks amazing. They're a bit Hollywood-ish for me, like because they're so epic. But Detroit really made me want to replay it, like until I saw all the endings.
I'm just thinking, like right now, like what are the kind of attributes a game has to have so it actually challenges you and makes you grow. And like also the do's and don'ts, basically, for a game developer. Well, what could be the do's and don'ts for a game developer in point of making a game grow or not grow?
There's this thing called 30 seconds of fun or 30 seconds of happiness. That's something you want to achieve in your game. And I think it's like you want to have the player to repeatedly have this 30 seconds of high emotion to keep you on the game. So you wanna, like, it's maybe not a question that it's a bit of a broad question, like the do's and don'ts of game development. What do you want to do with your game? Because basically what you do is like
Not what you want to do with your game. If you want to look, let's say you have the question like, I want people to grow in the game in point of what kind of decisions they make, how is the game, more like this.
Okay.
Specifically for that. I know what you mean. It's not. So if you ask from the beginning, like what are the do's and don'ts for a game, you will never get anywhere properly. I know that's wrong. That's not what I mean.
There's games that are specifically designed to transform a player, so that when you start the game and when you end the game, you're kind of a different person, or not a different person, but the game had an effect on you. I just looked this up before the stream because it came to my mind. By Sabrina Kuluba, the transformational framework, which is basically a guideline on how to make a game like this. And well, the most important thing when you want to have an effect with your game, or if you want to achieve a special goal, is to basically work as close as possible with specialists. So you have to treat your game like a research. You have to gather as much as information as possible on the topic you want to talk about.
Okay, that's interesting.
And it's sadly not a thing a lot of people do.
Let me just see quick.
Yeah, weren't they? I think in like Battlefield and FPS games, they were talking about that 30 seconds of fun that he was talking about. Like they actually like in the campaign they like actually like increase the damage. Like you don't realize it,
Yeah.
but in the background they increase the damage, so you always get that first kill. Like in the campaign, like the first enemy you see.
So it keeps you going, yeah.
Right. So you had that, oh, cool, I got that kill. All right, let's keep going. And when he said that, that just reminded me of that. But, and no one, nobody knows because it's a campaign. So, but I never even thought about that, like while playing, like feeling that, oh, yeah, I got that. Okay, but once you hear about it, there's a video on YouTube about it, I think.
Yeah,
For like FPS titles about that same thing is they always, every single first person shooter game, they always, or campaign, that's the first, like it might be the first level is actually easier than you think it is because they want you to have that interaction. So you continue to play the game.
Yeah. I mean, you can see that mostly in nearly every game. That's true. So just that keeps you going.
That's probably why too they've created like story. Like I just came to mind. I just finished Jedi Fallen Order, and it's kind of like a Dark Souls kind of combat. And I had to play the game on story mode. Like that's how hard it was on normal. Because I don't ever play story games on hard. I just play for the story. And so I wonder if that's why like game developers have started to do that, is put in story mode so you can just enjoy the story if you want to, and still have that, not like super easy, but you can still complete the game and finish it.
Did you like when you develop games? What are for you the most important attributes for a game? Like
Most important
attributes. Like if I don't know how you go into game development. Like, do you have a story up front and then you have already like the visual stuff in front of you, or do you? I don't even know what part you develop. If you develop gaming, do you like everything or just only parts?
Well, I'm mostly a 3D artist and so I sculpt and draw, but I can do programming and the furniture itself and the displays I made by my own. I worked together with an artist on the last game, or two artists actually. So I don't do sound mostly.
Yeah, that's an art itself.
From the art side, I do everything myself and I code myself. If I don't work together with artists, yes. And well, how to make a game? It's maybe the same as everything starts, like when you write a book or when you draw a picture. You have like this idea and you start trying, you start writing, you start sketching, you try stuff out. Maybe you have an idea for a cool mechanic in a game. That's how a lot of games start, with a mechanic. Like, let's say Battlefield 1942 isn't there yet. And I think Battlefield 1942 was the first multiplayer game that had vehicles. Could that be true? Let's assume that Battlefield 1942 was the first game where they said like, oh, let's do a first-person shooter game, well, with cars and airplanes and tanks, because that's not there yet. So that's your core idea.
Yeah.
And then you try it until it's fun. Then you build a scene around it until it's a fully fledged out world you create.
Let me get back quick to something we had actually went on top. Silent said like I think he said a little bit out of fun, but the skill is not to create bugs in the first place. Something like that.
Yeah.
I think this is quite interesting. Like I feel, and I have no idea how development works, like, I mean, completely, I'm not a game developer, but my thinking would be, there are many, many things which come together to a game, and to make everything work is nearly impossible.
Yes.
And most of the time, you don't even know where a bug is. So let's just, maybe we can explain it when it comes down to Battlefield 5. Many people can understand well, what would you be your explanation why this game couldn't be fixed or can't be fixed, or they basically also gave up on it?
I haven't played it. I don't know what the problem with it is exactly.
Take another game
but,
then. Then take another game if you can.
Just like from what I can guess is that there's so many people working on a game. Like, let's say on Battlefield 5 there was like 250 coders working.
Yes. And probably not from the same place.
Not from the same place. And they probably have a guideline on how to work. But still, every coder is like, he knows one thing better here, one thing not so good there. And also every coder has like his own style of writing code. And then you need to write it, and then you need to document it so that another person can understand what you did. And in the end, 250 people, they throw all their things into one big bucket, and it has to work together. So everyone makes one mistake at one point somewhere, and you don't see it in your own part. But when you throw it in a bucket, it's suddenly a problem. Because when it worked for you on your PC or whatever, you didn't see it. But then you release the game, or it wasn't even a problem in the company, but then you release the game and it suddenly is played on 2 million different computers with all different hardware setups, different Windows versions, different graphics drivers. Suddenly that one problem, destroys the game. Stuff like that. So the sheer scope of games nowadays is so incredibly huge. Games cost so much more than Hollywood movies. Like one game could cost as much as a whole season of Game of Thrones or whatnot. And the fact that like a big game like Battlefield takes 3 to 5 years to develop, still considering that Battlefield is not a fully new invention, because Battlefield 5 reuses a lot of Battlefield 1 in the background. There's the engine that's the groundwork of every game that can be reused because it worked in Battlefield 1, so we can reuse it and just like try to improve it for Battlefield 5, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in the end, these 1,000 people working on this game for 5 years create a machinery that's so complex and so hard to grasp that it can become out of control.
I think that makes us understand a little bit more about the context. You know, you sent us a very interesting website. It's called ethicalgames.org. Joe, maybe you can also put the link in the chat. Can you explain us quick what this website does, and then and who is it made for, and maybe who created that website? And then we just jump into, I would say, little parts, and we just have a conversation about it and see where that goes. Skodone, can you explain this website?
Oh,
ethicalgames.org.
yes. Ethicalgames.org is a conglomerate of people who came together to try to identify bad things in the games world and in the game development world, like bad practices. So they all sat together and discussed. It's like an open platform, so everyone can send feedback and give their 2 cents. And they try to make one document, one draft that includes a small guideline on how to work as a game developer together with the gamers and together with your co-developers.
Yes.
In a way that everyone profits. So no one is ripped off or no one is taken advantage of.
Like a code of conduct, basically.
Yes.
I think what was very interesting for me is there was also linked an article, an interview with one of the heads, one of the CEOs of this website, and they said like there's a culture space where a relationship is formed between the game creators and the players, and between players themselves. This relationship calls for game creators and publishers to agree on a set of values. I think that says everything. Oh, this is actually on the main site. You can read it there. And I think, I mean, we as gamers who are not thinking about that stuff, we just get on and play, right? I think values are, yes, we have our own values, but we don't see the connection to the game or the developers whatsoever. We just hang out and want to have fun. And if we don't have fun, then of course it's the game's fault, While we're here today, we want to talk about positivity, right? And I think there are many sides to positivity. Yes, we can talk about why positivity is important when you game, because it affects not only your own gameplay, your mental health, or it affects also, the people you play with. That's really important. But I think that we can also talk about where's the relationship, between each other and us. Do you have any story, and Gally, you too, like, do you have any story which comes to your mind when it comes down to positivity when you game, where you had this aha moment where you said maybe to yourself, positive, like a positive mindset when it comes down to gaming is for you important?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of always, I don't know, I just have never really like, I don't want to, I guess, be ragey, I guess is the gamer term to use. I've always just had this, and it happens a lot in FPS games, you get like super mad because you just keep dying, and the whole purpose of, you want to, as a player, you want to succeed in the game. You want to be average at the game. Maybe not a professional, but you want to be average at the game. So, yeah, but in like FPS games, I just don't really. I try not to get too mad or make it really, really get to me. Trust me, I have. I mean, Rainbow Six Siege for sure. I have wanted to throw my controller across the room. I wanted to throw my mouse. Warzone. It's another one. I wanted to throw my mouse across the room, but you just can't. You just have to kind of have the mindset of,
Why can't you? Why can't you?
Well, I mean, you can. But how pose? I guess a question with the question is, how is that going to affect you? Affect your mental health over time? Because that's you just want to throw your controller across the room or throw your mouse or yell obscenities or whatnot. And I don't know. I guess my personality, I've never really been that. I mean, I get angry, but in gaming, I never understood why some people would or some people
friends
would do that. Yeah, sorry, read Zad's comment. But I mean, surely you can, but I just don't think it's very healthy to do so. I think it's just to have it's. I mean, this term gets thrown around a lot. It's just a game. It is just a game. But in that retrospect, gaming has helped me to in my own mental health, So, but I don't know if I've ever had a moment where I've said, "Oh, positive." Like I just try to be positive. I don't know if I've ever like while I've been gaming been like, "Oh yeah, I should be positive all the time because such and such." I mean, there's probably definitely times I have been positive, but like let's be real. There's definitely times in my gaming career I have not been positive at all, and I just quit and went to bed, and that's it.
Yeah, I think we all have been, right? I mean,
yeah. But I don't, I don't really do that that much anymore. I let it roll off and It is.
I
what
like
it
to
is.
make fun of myself when I fuck up. I don't know if you saw the video I posted today on Twitter. This was basically my statement for tonight. Like, I don't know, when I fuck up, I just try to laugh about myself. It's not like, I'm the stupid person in the world. It's more like,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know,
yeah,
have a laugh.
yeah. I
But
mess up
keep
all the
on
time, and
going
I
on,
just laugh at myself. I just laugh at myself because it's funny. I mean, it happens. I mean, I do. I mean, ask people that come to my stream. I fuck up all the time, but
And that's okay. I think why I asked you said you can't. I think what I try to get out of you is that you don't want to, because at the end you'll make a decision because you can.
well, yeah,
You can
right.
rage.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can,
yeah.
you can use whatever you want to express your feelings. But the point I wanted to make is more like you make a decision. And when it comes down to feelings and to the way we decide we want to play a game, it's the decision I make. It's my responsibility. It's not the game. It's not you. If you play with me, it's not my gun. I decide if I want to reach. No one else. Um, so I think I don't know. I mean, you play mostly single player games, Skodone. Do you rage
Yeah.
when you're by yourself? Like,
Sometimes.
and then you laugh.
I've raged
Yeah,
playing single player
it's-
games. But that's
it's-
just because
yeah.
I can't figure shit out.
It makes so much more fun to rage when somebody can hear you, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I had like, I really wanted to play a car game after some time, and I put up the wheel and I started driving in Wreckfest, which is this like demolition derby like game, and I played it all by myself in a campaign, but the AI is tricky because they try to hurt you. They try to drive you off the track because it's a derby
Oh
game.
wait,
Yeah.
that's even more mean. And he knows how they
Yes.
develop the game, so he knows what they do to him. That's a
Yeah.
double. Oh, I feel
So
you. I feel you. Okay,
Yeah,
I see.
you get
That's trick.
frustrated. You get really frustrated when you start like the same track for the 30th time after 20 seconds because you cannot get past the start because someone puts you to last place and you're never gonna catch up again. Because they turn you around, they flip, they bump you, whatnot, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
So I was like gritting my teeth, sitting in front of the wheel by my computer, and then my wife comes in like, "What the hell are you doing? You're screaming at the screen like there's no one here." And yeah, it's funny how determined and frustrated you can be with yourself at home alone.
yeah, right.
But then also, if that's like you maybe rage a little bit, but if you overcome that, like that mountain that you set for yourself, because if I get too frustrated, I just lower difficulty and go through the passage, and if I don't want anymore, I make it more difficult again or something like that.
Good question, both of you. Are you the type of gamers who start always with easy, or do you start always with the hardest or the middle section?
I start with easy or average because I don't play for like.
Also, you guys in the chat, I want to know, by the way, easy or hard?
What's the word? I don't play to.
You're not a completionist. You're
I'm
not
a
100%er. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
I'm not.
Not on the games that want you to do it on hard. That's the stuff I leave out.
Yeah, right.
But I collect everything. Like Assassin's Creed, I cannot play that anymore because I don't have the time
Yeah,
to
you don't have
collect, to jump
hours.
into every hay bale on the planet.
It's a lot
But
of
yeah,
hay bales.
I don't want to be like challenged in a game. I'd rather experience it.
Right.
I wanna go through without frustration. I could never play Dark Souls.
Normal, not middle.
When I see Dark Souls, the whole concept of the game is rage for me. I don't want
Yeah.
that. I don't want
Yeah,
to be.
I don't think I would
yeah.
ever play that game.
I don't want to be frustrated on purpose.
Yeah.
It's like when it's when I watched Breaking Bad. After some time, I was like, this show hurts me on purpose.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, why do people love it so much when it's designed to make you furious? It has characters that are specifically designed to really, really, really dislike them. So I don't want that in a game. I want to be challenged in a way that I don't get frustrated.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always start on either normal or just like I mentioned earlier, I change it to like story mode so I can just play the game, because that's kind of how I heard that, Jedi Fallen. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I heard Jedi Fallen Order was like Dark Souls-ish, and I was like, oh man, I really don't want to have like the same thing. You don't want to get like a lot of the times too, like when I play a story game, puzzles. I am not a very big puzzle person. So then when I come to a point in a game where it's like not hard, but like you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like
I love puzzles too.
Yeah, and I'm like, and that's so yeah, you could definitely rage in a
Are there any games?
game too.
I have a question. Are there any games you guys play with your wives together? Or play?
That's funny.
I tried, but
actually, my wife, she not hates games. She doesn't. It's just not interest her at all.
Yes, same.
Doesn't
really?
And
you never tried to get them to play with you?
I tried. We played.
Yeah, I've tried.
Yeah, we played something like we played Overcooked and Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time, but that lasted maybe 1 hour, and that's our complete game together experience. I really would love to play Knights and Bikes and Stardew Valley with her, but with the baby right now, it's near impossible.
Oh, you have a baby. Congratulations.
Yes. Well, she's 2 soon, so not so
That's
much
not a baby no more.
anymore. No.
She's a toddler.
But she will be a baby always.
Yeah. Aww. That's very true. That's very true. But she's
I've tried to. Like, she's played games in the past growing up, but like The Sims and stuff. And actually, so she's a big Harry Potter fan, and that new Harry Potter game, I was like, oh, hey, there's a Harry Potter game coming out. You might like it. And she's like, nah. I'm like, all right, whatever. I mean, if she's not interested in it, I'm not gonna, force her to like
Oh,
it.
you should force her. Just kidding.
I've tried. I mean,
then play something like really, really demanding.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, she's played games before, but
what did she play? She played games before. What did she play?
Yeah, like just growing up, like Nintendo,
like
those types of games. Yeah,
and she's grown up now.
Yeah, right.
I guess I never grew up. I never grew up.
Yeah, gaming is for nerds. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
what she says to me. No, she understands that it helps out with my. I think at first she had not a hard time, but she didn't really understand why gaming like helps me with stress and all that kind of like. She just thought it was like dumb. Like, why are you playing that stupid game? Why do you with your friends and blah blah. And I think now she understands that it actually helps me, deal with stress and other things that aren't family related, and it also gives me like a good time that we aren't together. We're still in the house, but you know what I mean? Like, we're not sitting on top of each other, right next to each other 24/7. But it's a good time where she gets time for herself. She can do whatever she wants, and then I get to kind of do my thing. So we kind of have a good routine. Sorry, got sidetracked. Yeah, we have a good routine that we've kind of found when it comes to the balance, as I say.
I was just thinking about something Brett said in the chat. Brett said about FIFA. Were you talking about the loot boxes, Brad? In FIFA? Let me just wait. Who was it? I think it was gonna be Brad.
Somebody said FIFA is a gambling simulator.
Yeah, gaming simulator. Yeah, Brad.
Like the soccer game, like
Ye-
football. I
Yeah,
guess.
no, I'm just asking because Skodone, this website you bought me on, Ethnic Games, there was also an article on GamersWeCare.com. It was very interesting, and that brought me to another article I couldn't stop reading. And there it was about that the UK government actually urged to immediately classify loot boxes as gambling. And they were specifically talking about FIFA in that article as well, that they banned actually loot boxing, I think back in 2018, because, like I said, they specified it as gambling, and because many kids are playing it, you know. And I thought, this is interesting. I didn't even know that. And this is also like part of why ethical gaming is important, because these are actually the things they want to point out. So we as gamers are, I guess, more safe, you know, from these things, because many times we don't even know what's happening. We just do. And we don't know what happens to our brain or our habits, right?
Oh yeah, that's just like in Madden too, like because the same type of EA makes the same both games, but they have the same type of current like things you can only purchase with real money as in most games nowadays. But yeah, I never thought about that, how that
Yeah,
would
what meant
affect
the loot boxes. Yeah.
how that like because most people don't think of it as gambling,
Yeah.
but it could. I mean, yeah, could
I
be.
think it's about a mechanism, you know, like a human mechanism.
Like I need this now type thing.
Yeah,
Instant gratification, instant satisfaction.
absolutely. I have another question. Positive gaming. What else? When we let's just go. I mean, you both read the article as well, the code of conduct, right? What do you think are the most
Yes.
important things when it comes down to our gaming experience, so it is more positive? For me, it was, for example, community and events. The part what they said about it. Um, do you muted? Are you muted, Scotto? Yes. No, you're not muted, but we can't hear you. Or? It's weird. I think you're back. No? Say something? No, you're not back. Gally.
Yes. Hold on.
Why?
Oh,
Why do you? I want to ask you something specifically because you're a Battlefield player. Communities, Battlefield. What comes into your mind?
what comes into my mind? Battlefield communities. I always think great friends. Great time. Hold on a second.
No worries. Okay, I talk. With the kids, one has no sound. Okay, I think. I don't know. I don't want to give them the answers. I have a lot of thoughts here. That's hilarious. Okay, then let me ask you something in the chat, guys. When you think about Battlefield and communities, and
Can you hear me now?
yes, we can hear you now.
Oh,
I just
weird.
wanted to give the answer.
I changed microphone.
Okay, sorry, kids. They want to know what I'm doing. Anyway,
I guess.
What was the question again?
Wrong Windows now? Wrong Windows now? What is wrong Windows? Something changed?
Yeah, the Windows changed because I turned off my camera.
Ah, yeah. Joe will fix it. Just ignore it.
Oh, we're just in different spots. That's all.
Yeah, but we have the names switched.
Oh
Yeah.
Then okay.
Yeah. He will fix it.
Anyway, what was I'm sorry. You asked me about Battlefield and community, correct?
Yeah, but specifically to the game, like community service, for example, like I mean, if you try to connect ethical gaming, and there was a responsibility of game developing in point of communities, that direction.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, you mean like no, not anti-cheating, but I know your direction you're trying to go in.
You don't have to go my direction. Go your direction.
But yeah, when I think of Battlefield, I always just think of good times with friends, community, that in that sense, the people that I have met through Battlefield. And what's always so nice about Battlefield is it is a casual FPS game, so anybody can join you. I always like that aspect of it. But yeah, when it comes to the website and see, I don't know how they would bring that in Battlefield per se.
Like the ethical games?
No, my thinking is if the game developers, not the game developers, but the company who's, developing a game is responsible also in this code of conduct. They said when the game studio publisher or platform is unable to a social space around the game or organizing an in-person or remote event, a code of conduct should be established and enforced. It should be clearly communicated and often actionability to safely report any harassment, toxicity, or misbehavior. I think there are two sides of the story. Are the game studios actually interested in creating the possibility of having those communities? Are they actively doing something besides marketing, propaganda, and getting basically communities together to market their product? For Battlefield, if you look at Battlefield, you have the Discord servers, and people were very long waiting for the community service. And through the community service, you can have events, for example, and build communities and play together.
Right.
So, and it took them a long time to do so, and you still don't have really those servers as in Battlefield
too long
4.
for the rented server program. It took. Yeah, I agree. That's what was so great about Battlefield 1 is all the community driven event. Like if you think back to Battlefield 1, there was a lot of even gamers community. I mean, that's Necro, I remember him promoting that when they first started, and then they would have run events and they would run comp events. They would run just regular or Friday Night Battlefield on the PS4, even though that's not through like the rented server program, but it was on Battlefield 1. But Battlefield 5, they just used whatever server they could find. But yeah, that was such a great aspect of Battlefield 1 because you can get this community of people together that all enjoy the same game at the same time from different parts of the world and just play the game together. And it was kind of cool how they would run events like that. And then you would also meet different people through that too, which was really cool. But like Friday Night Battlefield 2 can be like that server can just be there can be toxic people in there because they just they go into it as like, oh, this is like a comp match or something. And they just want to, run everybody over with a tank or whatever. I'm just using an example, but, for them to put in the web, use the website and kind of say, okay, look, here are the requirements for these rented servers. You have to act accordingly or you will be banned. And I'm not saying I don't know. Here's a good example. Rainbow Six Siege. If you team kill now, if you team kill your teammate, you get a warning. The person that you team killed actually can say whether or not it was an accident or it wasn't. And then if you team kill 2 times, you get kicked from the match. If you team kill in another match, you will get a 30-minute ban. If you do it again, you will get I think it's like 4 hour or it's longer. That's like a couple days. And then eventually it's a permaban, but that's most of the time permabans for cheating. You don't usually see that for like team killing, but the same thing, like Rainbow Six Siege has text chat. So if you say stuff in the text chat that's not positive, or, whatever, you can get banned for that. You can get reported for it. You can get banned for it. And I think UB's actually done a really good job, because that was always a issue of, you asked me to think of a story about when I've experienced like toxicity. And I would say Rainbow Six Siege, when I first started playing that game on PS4, my one buddy was like, hey, there's this game called Rainbow Six Siege. You should play it. It's way better than Call of Duty. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So I bought the game, and I joined with him and his buddies in a party chat on PS4. And they were actually like, because I didn't know the game. Now, it was brand new. I knew nothing about this game. And a lot of Rainbow Six Siege is how you have to know how the operators work. And it's a lot of like map knowledge. So just knowing the operators and map knowledge. And this guy that I thought was my friend online, got into this group chat. Now, I didn't know any other people. I just knew this one guy that was in and there's only 5 people on your squad. And I was so bad at the game that they were like, yeah, we can't play with this guy. He's just so shit, blah, blah, blah. And they just kicked me from their squad. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to play with you. And I've experienced it in regular casual too, just like people team killing you because you didn't clutch the round, or because you didn't do something, and somebody gets mad because you lost the match for your team or whatever. And yeah, I used to, when that happened in that party chat, I actually was determined to learn Siege and get better at it because of that happening. I just played by myself, and I just would mute the in-game chat so I wouldn't have to hear people heckling me or whatever if I was bad. But that actually made me want to get better at that game because of that experience.
That's interesting, right? I mean, you took something, so it actually, Rainbow Six Siege made you grow in a way.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's a very competitive, it's a competitive scene, but it's because even when you play, it's kind of like people compare it to like CSGO, like games like that. Because even when you play Siege, just when you do, it's called quick match now. It used to be called casual. It's just it's not ranked. It's still the same game modes and such, but it's not ranked. So there's no ranking system. There's none of that. It's just you're just going in and playing the game. It's still very competitive, even on that basic level of the game. Yeah. So yeah, it definitely like I guess taught me how to like deal with toxicity, but also I've met like the greatest people from that game too. Like I like Phantom Sanity. Well, actually, I met Phantom in Battlefield 1, but we played a bunch of Siege together. I actually brought him with another group of people that we played with together, and we played with those people for like 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. We played Siege. So I've liked both sides in that game, but yeah, because that's a big complaint when people try to first play that game.
That's interesting because this competitive side of Rainbow Six Siege kind of threw me off and never made me play. And not because I don't like competitive, because I knew I had to put a lot of hours in that game to get on a level where I didn't feel like, shit. Yes. Because I have a competitive side in me as well. And it's not a game I can play like casually, and just hop on.
No, yeah, you can't. I mean, you can.
But it's not fun. It's definitely not fun. I played it for a while, and I know I didn't play it like, I don't know, 2 years or something.
Yeah, when I have people come in and like new people that play Siege with me, I try to tell them like pretty much the advice we give everybody is you are going to be shit. You're just gonna suck at the game at first because you just it's a lot of map knowledge. It's a lot of really just knowing like tendencies and where people come from and angles and that sort of thing. So if you like until you put those hours in, I don't know. I have like almost 800 hours on PC, I think, or something like that. Last time I looked. Yeah.
Hey, Squeezy.
So, but
he's the greatest Siege player ever.
But yeah, I suck at Siege. Don't listen to them.
No, Squeezy said I'm the greatest thing.
Oh, he is.
I know, single player ever. No, Siege player.
Yeah, we tried to get. Well, he's played it a little bit. We tried to get him, but he was, that's what like turns people off to that game because it's it's a steep learning curve. It's almost like I've heard Escape from Tarkov's a learning curve too. I don't ever want to play that game, but yeah. So
That's nice. My stepsons play Rainbow Six Siege. I like to watch, but not to play. Yeah, man, I just need more time. I wish I had a week where I can game and then a regular week. I just feel I'm so done with this whole time system of 24 hours, and then I need actually 8 hours of sleep. I feel this is actually the next evolutionary step. We should have time. I'm just not happy with
Yeah,
that.
let's not get older. Let's just skip sleeping.
I'm sure somebody will come up with that, like a pill or something, where you just don't have to sleep. Here, take this pill, and you'll be awake for days. You can do whatever you want. But now I'm to the point with that game. Like for instance, I don't play it as much because I've kind of like burned myself out because it's just so it's just like the same. It's like repetitive. You're like going in to play, and not just the game, but like the style. You know, it's like and then toxicity too. There is especially in that. I mean, it's in other FPS games. I think there's FPS kind of gets the.
I was just wondering, like, is it really so much better than other games? Because at the end, I mean, toxic people are everywhere, and for me, I
think it's just more prevalent in like shooter games for some reason. You know what I mean? Like if you look at like Call of Duty, has always like I've been a Call of Duty player for a long time, and there's always been. I mean, that used to be Black Ops 2. Like that's why you had game chat on.
Okay. Then another question: does anyone here in the chat as well? Like, let's pick another game. Does anyone have here in the chat or you experience with a non-shooter game, but it is competitive? Let's say Rocket League. Does anyone have experience?
I've heard. I've never played Rocket League.
And was that like community? Is it as toxic or do you know, Skodone? Do you know another game which is a competitive game but not a shooter game?
I played a little bit of League of Legends, which was the most toxic game I ever played. And
Smash Bros. That's a good example.
Yeah. And it's funny because there's like you hardly, when you don't play with friends, have voice chat in League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like everything is done with text chat. So it's so funny because it's like such a team game that you cannot win in this game when you don't play together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like how many? I think 5 people versus 5 people. So if one of your team is toxic, you will lose because it will bring morality down for the whole team.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was always like when I played the game and one person died. It's like it's always this first blood is very bad if it's on your team. If someone is the first to die in your team, there's a lot of people that cannot control themselves and will just rage from that first death on, which does not say anything about the whole game. But the people were just like, one guy dies, it was a mistake or happened somehow, the other guy was better, you couldn't adapt to the situation, whatever. And then one guy from the team would start flaming at him, calling him a noob or blah, 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 or that he fed on purpose, or that he should go home and play some other game, or I don't know, worse things, insulting mothers and family. And from that moment on, there were like first 5 or 10 minutes of a 45-minute match, you knew you would lose.
Yeah.
But you get punished for leaving the match because then you would like abandon your teammates again. So it's really a very funny thing, a situation that happens. You have this one person in your team that drags all of your team down, but you still have to play until you lose. So to say, I mean, there's you can turn it around if there's great communication in your team. You can like disregard this one person, but usually what would happen is that people start fighting over each other. So I stopped with that game, and I played the Russian equivalent to League of Legends, and I don't speak Russian.
What is that? What is the Russian equivalent of?
It's
League of
called Prime World.
Prime World.
Prime World. I can type it in the chat. And I like the mechanics of Prime World better than the loadout mechanics of League of Legends. So I was intrigued by my friend, and we played together. And the fact that I cannot read Russian text, like I cannot read Cyrillic and I don't understand Russian, made me enjoy the game. Because whenever someone started fighting or flaming or raging, I just
didn't know what they were saying.
I didn't know anything. and he could read everything, and he did engage into like skirmishes with them from time to time, but he would only pass to me the important stuff.
Right.
And that's how we like kind of got good at this game. So now, and I never played alone. I only played with him because there's no point being completely like an ego player, because you don't know what your teammates are doing because they talk and you can't understand it. But for MOBAs,
I'm just not thinking like somebody is raging in Russian and you don't understand them. I mean, isn't that even better?
it's amazing.
You have no idea.
Because you're still positive.
Yeah,
You cannot be touched.
Yeah, it doesn't bring your vibes down. That's kind of how my squad on Siege was. Like, if somebody would die, you know, we wouldn't be like, yo, what the, you know, it kind of just be like, oh, you know, nice try, you know, good job, and then we just move on to the next round, and then like, you know, whatever.
I have a rule for the code of conduct. So if you want to wage, you have to wage. And normally, you know, you play internationally with other people. So I'm only allowed to wage in German because you don't understand German.
Yes.
There you go.
That has to be in the rule of code of conduct.
Man.
Damn, why didn't I think about it? They should have talked to me.
I learned
then I'm
Finnish
out of
for
luck.
half a year. I learned Finnish for half a year, and I got into the habit to swear only in Finnish. So I knew what I said, but no one else would understand unless there's Finnish people around, and that also it creates funny situations.
It does, right? No, that's very interesting. Did you? By the way, I think I never asked. How did you like the video I showed you? Was there anything which came into your mind after this this little scenario you explained?
Like I remember when you posted it in Jeff's Discord.
Yeah,
and you were really hyped about it.
Yes, I was.
And I was working and I tried watching it on the side, and he talks so fast.
Yes, he talks super fast. I had to watch it 3 times.
And then the footage to me is like, the footage really put me off that video.
Yeah, I just listened to it. I actually didn't watch.
Yeah,
I just listened to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to really get the video. I would have to turn off the screen, put on the headphones, and just listen and do nothing else. And I'm very bad at that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I could watch it slower, because YouTube allows slow playback.
Good question.
I was really intrigued by the title, and then I didn't commit fully to the video, so I didn't get what he was actually about when I watched the full thing on the side while working. But yeah, I couldn't get into your hype. But now when we watched its short excerpt, I'm more intrigued now to watch the whole thing again.
You gotta find out if you can make it slow. Maybe you have to download it and then play it in your player, and just because.
Also,
but it's really interesting because I had to watch it actually twice or 3 times because there are so many connections he made also with these articles. I really hope we will get him someday here so he can maybe explain better.
That would be nice.
I just thought, like, he made, like, all the thoughts he came up with, you know, were so I was so not used to, because the usual stuff you see from co-op players is, what's the best gun, how can you level up quicker,
Yeah,
whatever
just like
it is,
commentary on the game.
and somebody like trying to get a connection between the psychological part, what happens to your brain, and also like I think he had really one question below the video is like, what game made you grow? And there was like, this is like not an easy question. I think many people don't even think about that.
Yeah, and the one thing I thought too while watching that little short thing was like that clip that you played was like focusing on the negative. Like if you heard a lot of the statistics that he was saying about like millennials and such, which for me, like I was born in 92, so I kind of dislike that term because I am a millennial, but I'm really not at the same time. But like, what's the positive out of it? You know what I mean? Like we didn't really hear that in that clip, but isn't there a positive side to that as well? There's always a negative and a positive, pro and con.
I think the positive for him is more like their realization of his own growth and of him looking back as a gamer. And I mean, I think the way he plays probably means like he knows what he's doing. And I guess the kind of person who he is probably like, I want to have more, and I'm bored of Call of Duty. And why am I bored? That's how I felt. Maybe I'm wrong. We have to ask him. But yeah, I think there are different kinds probably of people. People who like to like challenges. And people say, I just want to chill and have fun. Don't get on my nerves. And both is okay, I don't think everyone has to have this drive to grow and drive to, I want more challenges, yeah. Well, what point of ethical games, by the way, is going on? Do you have anything in mind? You said you wanted to have a look on the website again, what we can address on these points, because there are like a lot of points.
Yeah. But one of the points that I like so much that is never shown in any game, I don't know of any game that does that it shows you the amount you've spent in this game easily. Like there's so many games that you put like microtransactions in, but you never know how much in total. These I really liked. And that every game should have a code of conduct, as we said, for the events, but there you have like this code of conduct in every game, and then there is some instance that executes it. This is something I would really like to have in multiplayer games.
I'm just thinking, what would be an easy way to actually people deal with it? Like, let's say it's a community game server and you have to agree on terms.
For instance, you have to have like if it's a community server, then you would have to have a explicit moderator who looks at reports, for instance.
Yeah, you'd almost have to have somebody that's not playing the game.
Yeah,
because that's a complaint too. Is especially it just brought to mind in Battlefield, like when you're in these rented servers, there's only certain people that can kick you. So
there's
if they think that you're
person who can kick you right now in Battlefield 5, and that's the awful thing.
Oh, there's only one.
You can
on the Battlefield.
In Battlefield 4, yes, 3, yes, you could make
3
I think up to
and
10
1. I think it was
something.
one. How many? I don't remember, but that what I'm saying is like there's like that admin could think, okay, this person's cheating, or let's kick them, and then the actual person can say, oh, I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
So there's always like two sides. So you almost have to have, like he's saying, a non. Yeah, you almost have to have a if somebody is not even playing, say, oh no, this is or whatever. But yeah,
there's a lot of things you can do on the developer side, so you don't need an actual person.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Gally said, there was Rainbow Six Siege with the team kills, right?
Yeah.
So stuff like that you can do in any multiplayer game, because there's certain things, the mechanics you can implement to punish unfairness or toxic behavior
Yeah.
automatically without having to have a real person. Like there's like anti-cheat systems that are hated because they are unfair, or they ban people for playing too good, stuff like that.
Which games?
Um, what do you mean? Like first person shooters?
What games are they banning people for playing too good? Like you mean like personal ban, like abusing of
Like
power ban, or the game itself, the developing side?
like that there's that there's a system that if you get a certain number of reports, you get banned.
Mm-hmm.
So that this is like a pro. If you're very good and people get frustrated, they report you for being good, and you get banned without
Mm-hmm.
having actually cheated. That's a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
they
saying.
cheat,
If you go there and don't move for 30 minutes and shoot everyone from spawn with a sniper rifle, that's a problem I can address automatically.
Mm-hmm.
If I go in there and shoot my teammates repeatedly, and I really loved when you said that there's a system that the person that is being team killed can say it was an accident or it was not. I really love that. Because
Mm-hmm.
this is another instance that you as a player have a power to say it happened. It wasn't trolling. It's just like it was an accident. I ran into just
Yeah,
where he was
that's why
shooting his machine.
that's why I asked. Squeezy actually said it. Like shadow banning is a thing at the moment for that in Call of Duty, and I think Call of Duty especially is a problem right now because there are so many cheaters.
Yeah.
And nobody can tell really on the other side like 100% is he a cheater or not. So eventually more people get actually exploited for cheating than it should be. I mean, because there are still good players out there, who are just good at the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always had a hard time. Like, every time when somebody, Cylon, we had the discussion the other day when you said there were cheaters, and I said, yeah, well, do you know for sure? And because I'm just saying that not to offend anyone, but I cannot tell if somebody is cheating or not. I just can't. I don't know. I don't know how to tell that. I just see somebody's maybe moving strange or doing something. Okay, maybe if he's shooting through the wall or something. But I'm just saying, for me, this was always a problem. Even to talk about it, because I felt like it's not on my hands anyways. I just hope they change stuff. Can they, by the way, from the developing side? I mean, why don't they deal with the cheating on Call of Duty better? What do you think?
Like in hindsight?
Yeah, because right now they
In hindsight is difficult.
yeah.
Sorry, Gally, continue.
No, I was just gonna say right now in Warzone they manually ban. They don't.
Yeah.
There's no anti-cheat.
That's
So it's not like Siege. There's an anti-cheat, but I think there's a manual behind that too, because you can like Siege, you can report people for griefing or for cheating, and then I guess BattleEye kind of calculates that in their algorithm, and then I guess if you get, I don't know what it is, like I guess if you get reported so many times, then a person actually looks at that account, and I guess there might be like playback or something they look at and go, okay, yeah, this person's cheating or not cheating or whatnot. And that's what I wish Warzone had. But I get why they don't have it too, because like you're saying, it's hard. But or for example, people that are just really good at the game, like they could get banned because the system thinks they're cheating, but they're not. So there's, I think that's kind of why the developers personally ban, but it takes too long, in my opinion.
You said in hindsight it's not possible?
Yeah, because you release the game and then someone designs a cheat program to inject in your game. So whenever someone writes this tool, you have to go into your code and prohibit the tool to get access, or to realize what patterns this tool enables, like auto aim or like wall hacking, stuff like that. and then you ban this tool, but then the guys who made it will make a new one that does the same thing. And it's very difficult to automatically detect these things in hindsight. Like you have to try to come over these problems from the start. Like if you have a good anti-cheat system in place, it will help you a lot. But then someone will always find a hole somewhere, put his stuff in there, and then you have all the cheaters there again. Like GTA Online, GTA 6 Online, or 5, 5, 6?
Five.
The latest one? 5.
5.
I played this for a couple of hours on, oh my God, it's incredible. I don't know if anyone plays it, or like honestly, it's crazy. So cheating, I think, is a problem that mostly you have to do, like you have to deal with it with moderators or with real people reviewing reports, because they're the only way to be sure. But then you have a game like GTA Online that has like millions of people. I don't know how many people still play GTA Online simultaneously, but it's a lot. This game is like not going down anytime soon.
Yeah.
And
there were like big things about money. Yeah. Go ahead.
You cannot have for one game a system in place like Facebook has for reviewing reported pictures. You cannot have a myriad of people watching reports all day long, 40 hours a week in shifts. So it's when like cheating takes over that much, I think you can only play with your friends only. That's how I enjoyed GTA Online. And public places, I don't know, Call of Duty, how with FPS, you have like all the official servers and there's the cheaters there. And if there's no system in place on how to deal with them effectively and fast, most likely what I always did is change servers.
Yeah, switch servers, move on. You can change it anyways. I just feel like, I don't know. I mean, I think I was pretty safe before because I was only not playing crossplay, only playing on PS4. So you don't meet many cheaters or I don't know.
Yeah, it's all of us over on PC.
And now with crossplay on Call of Duty, it's finally a topic, And I don't know. I'm always like, if I kill somebody on Call of Duty and you hear the last thing they say when you kill somebody and somebody is calling me like aimbot or cheater or whatever, I'm always smiling. I'm always like, yay.
Yeah.
Somebody called me a cheater. What's a compliment?
Yes.
I did something good. So this is when I hear the word cheater, I feel always love.
It happened in Battlefield 5 quite a lot, right? After the release, there were developers having their accounts banned for playing too good. I read I saw some tweets
on PC it was on PC it was an issue with
it was funny.
People just even like using like aim bots. It wasn't like there was no because there's no anti-cheat in Battlefield 5, right? I don't think there is.
No.
Battlefield 1 there was on PC, but there's not one on PC for Battlefield 5. So
yeah, exactly.
But I mean, for me, it's like I don't know why you would ever like want to doesn't that just take the fun out of the game? If if you're using wall hacks or like especially FPS game, like say you're using wall hacks, right, and you just know where everybody is on the map. How is that like you're just taking the fun out of the game? I don't know.
I only know two valid reasons to cheat. You're a streamer and you are actually good at the game, but you want to look good. Like it has happened in the past to quite some streamers that they were actually cheating.
Yeah, because I forgot to switch it off.
Yeah, or because they need to, because it's their job. They need to like.
Come
You
on.
can't be a streamer and be very, very bad.
Yes, you can. If you
Yeah,
entertain.
yes,
Yeah,
you can.
if you.
Sure, sorry, I take that back. But
Right
I
here.
mean, if you're like a competitive person and you play PUBG and you always end up in the 90s, that's not very entertaining. If you don't have any other content other than not playing good.
Yeah, but then they're lying to themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other valid reason to cheat is to be underage.
To be what?
Like to be young.
Yum.
Oh, because you're young. Because you're younger. Like if you're
Yes.
you're
young.
Insolent.
Sorry.
No, it's good. I was like yummy, yum.
Yeah, if you're yummy, then you have to cheat because you're just too sweet.
Oh, okay.
No, if you're younger, like if you're like I was saying underage, I don't know if the right expression. If you're like teenager or pre-teenager and you play an adult game and you cheat. I did it as a child. I cheated a lot.
I cheat a lot too, especially in school.
Yeah,
it's true.
In school, that's another topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to have it easier and you want to feel good and you want to be as good as the adult ones. So.
Or you're just lazy.
Or you're lazy or whatever.
I was just lazy.
Well, the third reason is the only non-positive reason is that you cheat to destroy the game for the others. Like that you
that's what I always think of is people cheat because they want, especially like in a first person shooter setting.
That's also another option. You just be around bad influence. You just have one person in the group who's cheating, and he brings up and it's so cool and so easy, and you can do it too, and then you do it too when you're young, It's sometimes it's also just their, what do you say, this thing effect, the copying effect,
Yeah. I thought of something as we've been talking, is like we're talking about cheating and toxicity. I wonder if the people that comes to mind, like they choose to do those things, they choose to basically be harmful to other people, whether it's verbally, whether just through like in-game chat, voice chat or whatnot. Like I wonder if they think about how that might actually affect the people that they're playing, like what they're saying, and those people in that game are hearing them. Like, do they think about that? Do they think about what, how does that affect somebody else, and their mental health?
Maybe
thinking about that.
Maybe it's like, everyone has this one friend who only comes when there's a problem to talk. So they're gonna just take their problem, they're just gonna hand it over to you. Like they pile it on top of you. You want to hear it or not, they will always come and they will pile and pile. They also they don't think about you at that moment. And I think that if you're a toxic player, maybe it's also your way of letting off steam, and you can just scream your anger into the void, and you don't know that Gallatron76 just sits behind that screen and actually takes it personal, because the other person just sees this
that
username and a weird figure jumping around, and so I think it's similar that the anonymity of yourself and the other people makes it very easy for you to ventilate without thinking of any consequences. Because verbal abuse or any type of harassment or toxic behavior in the internet still isn't with any consequences mostly. Like I can hate on people on Facebook all day long. What will happen?
Yeah, and you're not going to get right. And I'm not going to get banned.
I can
say
whatever
I
to
want.
random people, and maybe they care. or maybe they will take legal action, but mostly not. If I don't send death threats to a politician, there will be no consequence, except that I hurt the person really bad.
Yeah.
Should they have like harder restrictions against cheaters, like legal? I mean, I'm just thinking right now. The senator in the U.S. The senator in the U.S. The senator in the US brought up like a month ago, and I'm not saying it's right. I think it was pretty stupid. But anyways, he brought up that he wanted to have legal consequences for people who are using music legally on Twitch. And it was like even with jail, you know, it was like, I mean, obviously he was working for the lobbies for the industry. But anyways, I'm just thinking, why not doing something in point of cheating? I mean, it doesn't have to be, it could be like a year of social service or something, you know, something useful. Because if there are no consequences besides getting an account banned, which you just can make a new one, what's the point, you know? I don't understand it really. I don't understand if there's like a monetization issue behind it, why they are not interested to do something. It feels like it's
I don't know if like,
or because they can't do anything because it's their fault in the first place. I don't know.
There's like there's two things clashing also right now. The GDPR that should protect you in the internet, like your data.
That law passed? What do you mean that law passed? The law with the Twitch? You're kidding me, right? With the music on Twitch or the cheating thing? What I'm talking about?
Oh wow, yeah. I think the law with the music.
No way. It passed for real? Are they fucking sorry? Language. We have to cut this part out.
I think that's the same. I think that was the same dude too that said that he wanted to start charging, or like streamers, like for instance, if I wanted to play Battlefield, I should buy a business license from EA to stream their game on the internet, which I just think is kind of ridiculous because I paid money, real money, for the game, so I own the rights to play the game. But you know, I think it was the same dude. So that I don't. The music thing is tough too because like a lot of the artists, it's not really the artists, it's more or less the business side of that, because they own the rights. So
it's only the business side of it. But I mean, come on, grow up. I mean, make a deal, which comes, like, you know, this is just weird.
Also, I think because everything is like all these things are new, streaming isn't something that's been here forever. It's like something very new, and
it's still developing. It's just becoming more and more popular.
How long is streaming? Isn't it like 11 years now or something?
Yeah.
Well, I think Twitch, but I think just in general as like society, like even on people just going live on Facebook or like to do their, like some people, I always see like people like marketing makeup and stuff like that. Like even just that is more of the norm, or as influencers, social media influencers, Instagram and TikTok. I think that's just becoming more of the norm in our society. Whereas like Twitch is like, oh, these nerds play video games and people come and talk in a chat. Like we've been doing this way longer than I always think about that when I see.
Well, I think like the last
platforms.
2 years showed that we have a whole new industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, companies definitely take it seriously. And if you're smart today, you actually try and build something up for yourself. There are many options right now, and especially because it's still that new. You just have to be clever and think about, you know, what's your specialty? What are you good at? Think about that. That's nice, but I really didn't know this law was passed. Thank you for writing this here. I thought when he came up with that there was a joke and they would never pass that. All right. Is there any other part, like, I don't know, Gally, if you looked into the document as well and have saved something up on their ethical games, or use Skodone, what you like to talk about. I would say let's do one more, and then we have to kind of get to an end here. Let's do one more. Do you have one on the website? One of these parts? What you saw there? Actually, for me, really, it was like community and events mostly. Marketing, business intelligence,
maybe
organization.
that the players should be more educated about the game development process.
Yes, I totally agree. Because, like, honestly, like, just like we were talking about how, banning cheaters and, on the development side, I don't know how that's like how much manpower or money or just what does that take for it to actually happen. So I totally agree with that, because we just don't, as the player, I don't know, like, what does it take in Battlefield for somebody to get banned for cheating, or like Call of Duty or whatever. Like, what does that actually take for EA and DICE to actually do as a company?
Yeah,
and
right.
that's stuff that they don't. I guess it's like, what is that? Just like kind of like the biz secrets, like they don't want the player to know, I guess, like that. Oh, well, if they know, then cat's out of the bag. They're not going to spend $60 to buy our game. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think also that it is important for the development companies to be more transparent. Like, a lot of times, I mean, like, take Cyberpunk as a really bad example of what not to do and how not to interact with your fan base. Like, not showing anything, letting every streamer sign a document not to show any live footage before the game is out, because you lied to them. So I think that if the gaming companies would reveal more of the process and be like honest, like everyone would benefit from that.
Yeah, you won't have an expectation hangover, basically.
Yeah, it's like No Man's Sky maybe is great because they also had this. They expected the sun and they delivered the moon, but in this last, how many years was it since it came out? 2 or 3 years ago, No Man's Sky was first released, and now it's a really, really great game. So they delivered the missing parts, and they said, like, they were really open about it, and they talked to the people, and they said, like, okay, we really did a bad job there, but we're gonna try to fix it if you help us. And they listened and they delivered and they changed the game a lot, a really lot. They made a huge mod API so that a modding community could establish. That's also something.
You just said they listened. What could be the reason for a game studio not to listen to either the fan base or somebody else to improve their game?
There's reasons. Yeah, there's reasons, positive and negative. Like, let's say there's toxic and non-toxic reasons. One reason would be it's a one-shot game that's not to be meant to run as a service. It has a lifespan of launch, patching, and maybe a DLC, but it's not meant to run for 3 years. You will not deliver content. So you calculate for your game, if it's meant to not be run as a service, to have a certain time after the release for patching, then you have to abandon it because you're working on other things.
Yes.
When you release your game, you already most likely 60% of your staff is on the next game, and you have like just the core team polishing, finishing things, fixing things, and then there's the launch. Then another 60% of the core team go to the new game, and you have this very small part of people that will take care of the old game, like old games just released. But you have to pull them into your new project too. So there's this point where you cannot afford to fix a game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I have like 60,000 players on launch and I have 200 players after 2 years, of course they will be sad if I don't patch their bug, but I cannot employ a full-time person for 200 people.
Yeah.
And also they will not
Has
pay
to be
anymore.
relatable.
Yeah, they will not
Mm-hmm.
pay for the game anymore because they paid once and they own it for life. But they don't own the service for life. It's like TVs right now. If you buy a new TV, there will be a moment where the OS gets no update and you have to buy a new TV.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot access a new service. Like Twitch makes a TV like service.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a new software for your TV to access it. And now you have to buy a new TV because the hardware or the software on your TV is not valid anymore. So yeah, it's expired. And then there's the other possibility is that you actually don't care about your software. So you
Mm-hmm.
put it out, you fix it, and it's as a service, but you only fix the minimum. You'd rather add content than fix problems, because adding content gives you new customers, fixing problems doesn't.
Yes.
So there's like really toxic. It is in the ethical games. There's a link to the ethical video game monetization group report, the Project Horseshoe.
Project Horseshoe. Okay.
There is a link on the. Where is it? I don't think I can find it really quick right now. I can post
You
it.
can, by the way,
send it to
Skodone.
Joe.
Yeah, Skodone. By the way, the guys wanted you to join our Discord if you want to. Anyways, no, you're already there, right? You're already in the Discord. They want you to post your website and stuff there. They're asking
In the
there.
Discord. I will do.
Yeah, do that later. I mean, after the show. I'm just saying,
Yes.
and if you want, you can post that link there as well.
Yes.
Oh, Juice, by the way, welcome to our Discord.
So, and there is a myriad of things that has happened and is happening that gaming companies do in terms of how to treat your game as a service. Like if it's a money machine or if it's actually a product that is in a dialogue with the customers. There's like the one-way relationship and there's the two-way relationship.
People said, like, I saw somebody like saying, for example, we have this game changer program, you know, for Battlefield. And somebody said, I don't know who, he said like they should get rid of the game changers. They have too much power for the game or whatever.
Okay.
And I was thinking like, how can they have too much power? Because they definitely have nothing to decide. They can make suggestions, but the developers at the end, you know, they don't even need to explain. The developers at the end say, we do something or we don't.
Maybe it's just...
Yeah, how is it different from having game testers come in and just test it? It's the same thing. That's all. I mean, that's how I look at game changers. They're game testers without hiring like instead of the company hiring game testers.
Yeah.
They're using
but,
the game.
But look, it doesn't even matter if it's true or not. For me, what matters was more the thinking. Maybe if it comes down to ethical gamings, maybe we should have like like a bridge between gamers, like you said, and game developers, where you actually have like a website for each game where you can report, bugs, make complaints, but in a way where it feels like maybe even interactive. Because when it comes down to ethics, I think we always react reactive. Like we have bad press, we act reactive, And I feel what's a good thing about ethical games, the code of conduct is for me that it feels it is proactive. So what can we do before it comes to toxicity? What can we do? Like, let's say we have a platoon, these days, every platoon, I think, who has a Discord has their rule list in there, like a code of conduct, what do we want? But at the end, you also have to pull through and to put everything on little communities, to avoid toxicity. I think that this is the thing where I think game companies and studios actually should be stronger, because they have the manpower to do more for it. And I would say I think they benefit for it. I mean, why not? Having communities which are actually trying to help each other instead of not. Game changers and community managers are that bridge. Some are proactive and some aren't. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think it's also too much. Like Squeezy, don't you think? Like, especially with Battlefield 5, I felt bad for the game changers. I thought like all these critics about Battlefield they had to take in, and they couldn't do nothing about it, and it was not in their responsibility at all. They had this. They were just outsiders at the end, as anyone else, right? Or am I wrong? I mean, I'm not an insider. I have no idea, but
No, yeah, I would think
managers
that they
are
were.
definitely the bridge.
I mean, I think they're the bridge, but I think that they made suggestions, for example, for Battlefield
absolutely.
5 to work. And what it comes down to, I think, is especially in a big company like that, who's making this decision? Who does that decision come down to? So that person, just like you're talking about the code of conduct and ethics, somebody at DICE, that is their job to make that decision. And based off of their ethical view, they made the decision the way they made the decision. You know what I mean? Like it comes down to that. Who's making these decisions at the company as well? Are you going to get somebody that I want to do everything in my power for the player, or I want to do everything? It's kind of like, I don't know. I'm in a union. So it's like, are you going to be a company guy or are you going to be a union guy? It's kind of that situation for them, for the person that's making that decision. Do I want to make money for the company? Do I want a job, or do I want to benefit the player? And I think a lot of times it skews towards, I need to make money for,
the big art would be to have that balanced. To have
right, yeah, they have, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's super difficult, but
it is.
That's what we all would wish for. That, like the ethicalgames.org says in their intro, to develop a code of conduct or a draft that benefits both the developers and the players.
Right, yeah.
So the players have to understand that the developers cannot turn every flower in a game different shade of red, because I don't know. And the developers have to understand that listening to your player base is one of the most important things ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
But kind of what Drew's saying too. I mean, do we as gamers do it to ourselves? I mean, there's that saying, people just like to complain. Like, people are just gonna complain. Even if Mizzy thought that Battlefield 5 was like the bet, and I'm sure there's not that, I'm just using Battlefield as an example, but if Mizzy thought Battlefield 5 was like, she just loves it, it's the greatest game ever. Mm-hmm. But then
it wasn't.
There's always going to be people. I mean, there's people that don't like Battlefield 1. There's people that don't like Call of Duty. There's always going to be the people that are going to complain about the game,
For me, the hardest part was because I don't care about mechanics if they don't work, For me, it was always the most important part do I have friends to play with and enjoy the game?
Yeah.
And if you and I mean, at that point when Battlefield 5 was there, I had my platoon. I built up with friends, and I just could hardly find anyone who was enjoying the game playing with me. And if everyone is complaining, it's hard to enjoy the game yourself, even though you don't have really an issue. I think this
Exactly.
was, and then you start complaining yourself, even though you're, and then you realize,
Yeah, because that's kind of why I stopped playing it on stream, because that's what my chat kind of became, was just complain. That's all. And then I would find my, you know what I mean? That like every stream, it was just like, I tried to play it as long as I could. And I was just like, you know what? I need to take a break from, and also Modern Warfare came out and I wanted to play that anyway. But, yeah, I think I was just disappointed, with the way, because I wasn't there on release for Battlefield 1. Like, I got the game after it had already released. So this was like the first like Battlefield that I was going to play on release. And then it just like,
yeah, right. So I have one last question, and then we are about to let you guys go. What is if you could send like a positive message out of here of our talk, what would that be? Like something you take out of it, like a sentence you would say to a gamer, or whatever you think would inspire him to be better, to grow, to be more positive.
I would just say, I guess if you're negative, it's going to affect people in a certain way. And I think by being positive, you're going to affect people in a obviously positive way. And that could carry with somebody for the rest of their life. So that's why, because some people might say, oh, why should I be positive? But I think, that's a good, just for mental health reasons, that's a good thing to start out with, is to be for everybody to be positive. That's the only way we're going to change, right? It's the only way we're going to change something. It's getting everybody to not be the same way, but everybody on the same page, I guess you could say.
Yeah, as Stu said, right? Be the change you want to see in the world. You influence others far more than you will ever know.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, exactly. And too, like, actions speak louder than words sometimes. That's why I try to be, not like ragey.
I think in point of gaming, the words are pretty loud.
True.
That's funny. But you're right. I know what you mean. What about you, Skodone?
How about don't always shoot from the hip? When you feel that there's some negativity coming up in you, just take a little break before you burst out and react to what is causing it. Just take a break, or take a deep breath before it, and think about why and what happened, and like, do not react emotional when it comes to negativity, but try to react more like from the heart and from the brain than from the stomach.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I was thinking like about the feeling you have, when you're getting mad and you have in your stomach. I think I had once a therapist who told me that try to focus on your toe. And it's not about the toe. It's about that you make your brain to think about something else than you actually rage about. So it brings you down. Oh, interesting. Alrighty, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the interview tonight.
Yes.
Yeah,
was really a pleasure. Don't leave the Zoom call right away. I just say goodbye here, and then we can have a little chat. All right, guys in the chat, if you have one last question, Now is the time. Otherwise, I would like to call it a night. And rate you guys to their amazing Miss Gemma Beretta. Gemma Beretta? Did I say it wrong? Gemma Wembetter? Gemma Wembetter?
Gemma, she's cool.
Yeah. Joe will do that though. Next week, by the way, guys, we will have the amazing Scribble Ninja in here. I can't wait to talk to her. She will tell us her story. She's actually a Twitch partner. And she is a streamer for, I think, actually 11 years. She was streaming on Twitch when Twitch wasn't even Twitch.
Thanks, Sam.
So really, guys, you in the chat, you were a blast.
Yeah, Skodone for dice.
You were so active today here. I loved it. You had so many good questions, so many